Hello, District 14. This is a club growth training. This training does occur every third Wednesday, except for December. At 6 p.m., we'll be discussing mentoring. And that is what we're about to discuss in this moment. I am Tamika Taylor, and I'm the Corporate Club Liaison. I'd like to formally welcome you to Club Quality Mentor Training. Today, we will focus on building and maintaining membership, hosting quality meetings, and club retention. By attending this training, you give consent to authorize District 14 to copyright, use, and publish any images in any format taken of you. You understand that these images may be used for a variety of purposes and may appear on the District 14 website, social media, promotional materials, and any other media. Just a few etiquette rules. Please be sure if you're not speaking that you are muted. And if you are speaking, please make sure you're unmuted. And of course, if the host or presenter asks you to unmute yourself, please do so and actively participate in today's training. Just a reminder that the Toastmasters District mission is we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. At this time, I'd like to call upon DTM Barbara Morgan.
Good evening, and welcome to the Club Quality Training. My name is Barbara Morgan, and I am the actual Club Quality Mentor Team Chair. I'd like at this time, well, before I do that, before I introduce the team, I'd like to give you the purpose of the training. I think that Tamika has given a quick overview. We'll cover today, as she said, how to become a new club mentor, the benefits and responsibilities of mentoring a new club, the ins and outs and tips of mentoring a new club. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end of our training, and we would love for you to participate. We actually urge you to participate. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Club Mentor Training team, and I'll start with our co-chair, who is Linda Rogers, DTM.
Thank you, Toastmaster Morgan. My name is Linda Rogers. I've been a Toastmaster for almost 8 years, and I believe in Toastmasters. I've had the opportunity to sponsor a club and to mentor a club, and I think that there is nothing better in life and more rewarding in life than to help other people become better at their communication and leadership skills. This is what club mentors do when they help a club get started and they mentor individuals. Back to you, Toastmaster Morgan.
Thank you. Andrew, please introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Marty, and I am also happy to serve on this committee and also very honored to be a Toastmaster. I've been a Toastmaster, maybe not as quite as long as Linda, but for going on 5 years. I've served as VPE, Club President, and Area Director. So I'm excited to be a part of this committee. Back to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Andrew. And now Tamika.
Hello again. I am Tamika Taylor, the Corporate Club Liaison. I've been a Toastmaster since 2018. Ooh, time flies. I've served as the Area Director. I've served as Club Coach, Club Mentor, and of course, a myriad of positions within my club, the CDC Royal Toastmasters Club. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Tamika. And last but not least, Elstina Smith-Sellers, DTM.
I'm Elstina Smith-Sellers, and it is my pleasure to serve on this committee. I have been a Toastmaster for 15 plus years, and it's been my pleasure to serve in many capacities, most recently as working with young people and serving as president of my club, Dawn Breakers Toastmasters Club. Toastmasters has been very, very good to me. It has allowed me to grow, and it's allowed me to help others grow. And that definitely is an attribute for all of us.
Thank you, Elstina. I appreciate that. For me, Barbara Morgan, the chair, I have been a Toastmaster for approximately 10 years. I have served as a division director, an area director, a mentor, a coach, a sponsor, and several other offices. So I am elated to actually chair this particular committee, but I'm actually even more elated to have the caliber of people on my team to support me. So at this time, let's get this party rolling. We are going to welcome our first facilitator tonight, who is Linda Rogers, DTM.
Thank you, Toastmaster Morgan. Before we get started, I want to for District 14 this year, engaged to excel. Make sure that you are fully engaged in Toastmasters this year and that you do your best to take advantage of all of the benefits of Toastmasters that you can throughout this year. The trainings, the interaction with other people, whatever, but be engaged to excel. Also, remember the Toastmasters International core values in all of your interactions in Toastmasters: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Keep these in mind, whatever you do. Now, what is a mentor? Well, I'm not going to give you the definition yet that Toastmasters has. I want to hear what you have to say about it first. So let's do some drawing on the whiteboard. What do you think a mentor is? Go up to the top of your screen where it says View Options, open the drop-down list, choose Annotate, and then at the top you can click on Text and actually key things in, or on Draw, write in cursive what you think a mentor is. And I'm going to pause while you put some comments in here on the whiteboard. Here we are, a teacher, a guide, a mentor, a kind ear. Oh yes, some cursive coming along here. I think we're headed towards a leader. A mentor is all of these things. Andrew, if you could clear the whiteboard. A friend. Support person. Thank you, everyone, for your input. Let's move on. All right, Toastmasters International defines a mentor as someone who shares his or her expertise and knowledge with those who have less experience. And a perfect example or definition of a mentor cannot be found. Someone who shares his or her expertise and knowledge with one or more people who have less experience. Now let's talk about some attributes of new club mentors. First off, the new club member must be an experienced Toastmaster who possesses leadership skills, a passion for Toastmasters, a strong sense of dedication to helping a new club develop tools to become a strong club to ensure their success for years to come. When we walk away from a brand new club, we want them to be thriving. So what are some useful attributes for someone who is going to be a new club mentor? First, that person must be in Toastmasters for a minimum of 6 months. You can't talk about something if you don't know what it's about. Then you want to have a desire to add value to other Toastmasters leadership growth. You also need to attend district club mentor training. Be willing to meet with the club for at least 6 months, but preferably for 1 year. You should have completed the Level 2 project, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring, which is a required project for everyone at Level 2. And ideally, after you have finished your Level 2, you also sign up and complete the Pathways Mentor Program. Now, the Pathways Mentor Program is an extra thing that you request after you finish Level 2. and it will help you build and reinforce skills needed to provide a positive mentoring experience for proteges. There are 3 projects in here, and they have to be completed sequentially. The projects cover a range of topics from understanding your role as a mentor through a comprehensive assignment that includes a mentoring commitment that lasts for 6 months. So these are attributes of new club mentors. Now, what are the benefits for mentors? Well, you get to share your experience with others. You get to translate values and strategies into productive actions. You prove yourself as a valuable leader. You invest in the future of Toastmasters by helping others join. You obtain fresh perspectives. You build teamwork skills. You apply leadership skills in new situations. And you earn credit toward the path to a DTM. What other benefits do you think exist for club mentors? Please unmute and just call them out. I know one of the benefits that I found when I was a club mentor is that it also helped me learn more about Toastmasters because I needed to teach others. We will move on. Now, when you are mentoring, you are providing direction, training, support to others, providing motivation. You are measuring success by how many people are in your club and how well do they understand the DCP goals and are they reaching them? In essence, you have all of these benefits of helping people and reaching goals. What are the benefits to club members when you are a club mentor? Well, members will gain a foundation for building skills and meeting goals. They will gain an understanding of Toastmasters terminology. They will increase their comfort in participating in club roles and the Club Success Program. They will have assistance with personal goal planning. They will establish a foundation for further leadership development, build self-confidence and self-awareness. They will help ease the transition between where they are now and where they want to be. There are a number of additional benefits to the members of the club when you help them as a club mentor. Let's now talk about how you can be appointed as a club member. First, you could be appointed by getting in on the ground floor of a new effort. You can work with the club mentors to hold the demonstration meeting, to hold club meetings while the club is being chartered. But you need to get your name placed as one of the 2 club mentors on the application to organize a Toastmasters Club form. Now, whenever you are named on here, you still must be approved by your District 14 Director, Marion Barelone, or by the District 14 Club Growth Director, for Sandra Kennebrew. And of course, always remember that TI requires that you be a club mentor for 6 months from the chartering date, whereas District 14 asks that you stay an additional 6 months for a full year. And I personally believe that that is what should be done because you want your club to be a thriving club when you step away as a mentor. Now, the second way you can be appointed as a club member is to actually be appointed after the chartering paperwork has been sent to TI. You have 60 days from the club's official charter date to be appointed as a mentor. You need to send an email to the District 14 Club Growth Director, for Sandra Kennebrew, asking to be appointed as a mentor for that specific club. Now, I do want to say here that it's important that you act quickly when you want to be a mentor for a club that's already in the process of being chartered or has already been chartered, because you only have 60 days. And that 60 days is a lot shorter than you think. When the application information is sent into TI, they actually assign your date based on when they receive the application. but it may take them 3 or 4 weeks to actually get all the paperwork done. And it will take time for you to understand that a club mentor is needed. It takes time for someone at the district level to actually get your information into TI, and they do not make any exceptions from that 60-day date. So work quickly if you want to be a mentor. Now, another way you can also indicate your mentor interest is by filling out the District 14 mentoring interest form, which is going to be dropped into chat. And when you fill that form out and send it off, Versandra Kennebrew will get that and know that you are interested in helping mentor a club. Now let's talk about how you find mentoring opportunities. One of the ways you can do it is to submit that form and get on District 14's list of people who would like to be mentors. Another way is to look at the new club sponsors and mentors list, which is on the bottom of this screen. This is a report on the TI website that for every district that you can find, and it will list the clubs that are needing or currently have assigned sponsors and mentors. You will notice on this one that there is a need for mentors for both the Cap Tech Speaks Club, the Voice of Lion, and Troy Riverfront Toastmasters. But unfortunately, the dates they were chartered are longer than 60 days ago, so trying to do anything now for these clubs would not work. Another way you can find mentoring opportunities is to put out the word among your Toastmasters friends. You never know who's going to say in their presence, I'm trying to find club mentors. And then, of course, keep your ears open to just find out when mentors are needed. This concludes my section, and now I'm going to introduce Toastmaster Andrew Marty, who will lead us through our next section.
Thank you, Linda, and good evening again, everyone. So again, Andrew Marty here, and I'm happy to lead you through the next section of today's discussion. And we're going to dig deeper into the responsibilities of a club mentor. So at this point, you know the drill. We're going to start with getting your ideas. So when you think about a club mentor, just like you did before, let's get some of your ideas. What is it that a club mentor does? So go back to that annotate, and let's see some of your ideas here on the screen. So moments of truth, help with meetings, provide resources, okay, and there's that word again, guide. It's a really good word to think about with a mentor. So these are good. So we will talk about these and share some others here. But let's move on. So when we think about it, this deck comes from Toastmasters International, and these are some of what Toastmasters International says are club mentor responsibilities. So let's talk through some of these. Building a personal rapport with the club. It's really important, right? In order for you to be a trusted mentor, they need to trust you. So it's important that you build that personal connection with the club. Like Linda says, you're coming in as an expert. And so you need to explain the complexities. And there is nothing or few things more confusing to a new club than our pathways and educational system. So a mentor has an important responsibility to explain how pathways works and help the new club in their process of understanding pathways and getting used to it. Also, too, it's important that the mentor helps the club officers ensure they understand their duties. I'm going through this right now with a new club, right? So they're trying to understand, what is it that these roles do? What should my responsibility be as VPM or as VPE, et cetera? So working with the club and helping them understand their roles is a key responsibility as a mentor. And then really encourage them to broaden their scope, right? Toastmasters, yeah, there's a lot centered on the club, but there's also a lot of activities outside of just that immediate club. So encouraging the club to expand their boundaries beyond that of just the club itself to the area, division, district, and other larger meetings. And really, you're helping the club members build positive habits, being prepared, right? Making sure they have a plan for the meeting, making sure they have a plan for officer meetings, making sure that they're getting ready for contests. Thinking ahead is a key part of leadership and a key part of what we do in Toastmasters. And as a club mentor, you have this responsibility to instill these habits with your new club. Because really what you're doing is you are creating the foundation of a brand new team, okay? Now, a very famous basketball player, Mr. Michael Jordan, had this quote, right? Now, let's think about who Michael Jordan is, right? Arguably the greatest NBA player in the history of the sport, okay? So even this talented player, he says talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships, okay? So no matter how good you are, how talented you are, you can't do it alone. And so that's an important part of this team. And so when we think about it, we think about it from the perspective of maybe a triangle where you have district, in this case, District 14. At the center of that is the club, right? And the club is made up of its members. But supporting that club, you have these two important foundations of the triangle, the mentor and the sponsor, okay? So these are all really important teammates, components of this team to make the club successful, okay? So you can't count on one Michael Jordan to do it all. Michael Jordan, he had his Scottie Pippen, he had his Steve Kerr, he had his Horace Grant. All of these individuals are critical to make sure you build this strong foundation of a sustainable club. We've talked about the role of the mentor. Let's briefly talk about what a sponsor is and the difference, right? So a sponsor is there at the very beginning. Linda was talking about that process just a minute ago, right? The sponsor is really there to help charter the club and follow leads to make sure they have the right membership numbers, generate that initial interest and momentum, and recruit members, and make sure all of that paperwork is submitted. Okay, so a sponsor is really important at the very, very beginning of the club. But as a mentor, what you're doing, you're picking it up really at this point forward to help the club establish these good habits and make sure they understand how Toastmasters works and to make sure they're building a sustainable club, okay? So it's important to understand the differences between a sponsor, which does these things here, and the mentor. Okay, now, another key thing that the mentor does is ensure that the club has quality meetings. This is so important, right? If you want the club, if the club is expected to sustain and continue, you've got to have quality meetings. So what are ways that you can do that? Well, the key thing, and to me, this is such an important aspect of being a leader in Toastmasters and being a leader anywhere, is just preparing, right? Just thinking a little bit ahead. Okay, are we set up for the meeting next week? Do we have speakers lined up? Do our speakers know what to do? Do we have table topics? So ensuring that the club is preparing is a great characteristic for continued club meetings. Preparing, part of that is us planning, okay? Do we have our speakers lined up? Do we have an agenda for the officers meeting, etc.? Also, it's important, valuable to think about program ideas. Do we want to have a special themed meeting? Is the club aware of how to use tools like Free Toast Host? I was coaching a new club this week on just the basics of Free Toast Host. So these are things that you as a mentor should do with your new club to help make sure that club is having consistently high quality meetings. And really what you're doing is you're building this perspective of continuous service, right? So each member of the club has a responsibility to service the club and each other. So as a mentor, you're helping instill that perspective. There's other things that the club may or may want to do. And these are optional items, and you can help the club decide which of these are appropriate, like an invocation, a pledge, the Pledge of Allegiance, etc. These are optional things. And you might have other ideas. I'm sure you do as a club mentor, things that have worked for you and your club. You have a responsibility to share these as a mentor with the new club. So quality club meetings is really important. This is another really important role and responsibility of the mentor, which is to build and maintain membership. Okay. So membership, it's the lifeblood of any club. So again, even Michael Jordan has to retire, right? So he's moved on to other things. So you need to look for, that next great player or multiple players to replace that Michael Jordan. It's really important that every club has this minimum floor of 20 members. This is really important. So a key responsibility for the club mentor is to help instill this perspective. 20 members. Let's make sure we're always recruiting and thinking and bringing new members into the club to maintain that membership number. So as a mentor, you're helping instill this culture of continuous membership building, right? And helping the club understand that it's a key part of operating as a club to bring in new members on a continuous basis. Again, the benefits of that is there's many, many benefits of having this strong pipeline of new members. One is you want to have a continuous, evolving, growing leadership base. You can't count on one person year after year to do role after role, right? They will burn out. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So as a club mentor, you need to instill this perspective as to how important it is to always bring new members into the club. And with new members, you're bringing in new perspectives and you're bringing in new leaders. Also, another benefit is you're building a club maybe with a few key members and you have some personalities and ideas, but it's really valuable that you're bringing in a pipeline of new ideas and new perspectives. That's another key aspect of ensuring that the club is continuing to evolve and grow. New members, new ideas, new opportunities, and new ways to organize your club meetings. So those are a few benefits. So how do you build a continuous stream of new members? There are many, many options, and this is by no means an inclusive list here. These are just a few ideas that you could consider. Club membership contests. These are great opportunities to encourage your club to bring new members into the fold. Find creative ways to leverage social media to build interest and additional members into the club. Open houses, whether it's face-to-face or virtual. Special club activities, maybe a picnic. Oh, it's a little cold for a picnic, but what are special events? Maybe you could have an evening out, evening at a restaurant. Think creatively, think for ways to build interest, to attract prospective members to your club. Promote hybrid meetings. All right, so you could say, look, we're having a special meeting face-to-face and virtual. This is an opportunity. This is something different that you as a prospective member should consider to join our club. Nothing like a face-to-face invite. So Dennis, I'm going to call you out. Dennis, I would love for you to join our meeting next week. People love that personal, focused attention. And sometimes it could be a personal email, a personal text, or heck, even picking up the phone and reaching out individually is a great way to let people know that you are really interested in them joining your club. There's other opportunities as well. And you can use some of these special events that Toastmasters has as a way to attract attention and to encourage people to join your club meetings and in turn, join the club. Here's a list of other additional ideas here. All right, bring a guest, bring your neighbor, bring your friend. Encourage your members to, if they have contacts with businesses, send a letter to those businesses and attract those individuals to a meeting. Invite guest speakers. Look at people at this call, right? So, we invited Linda Rogers in our club. She came and she gave a great speech about Toastmasters to our club. Use that as an opportunity to bring new people into the club and use these guest speakers as a way to attract attention and to bring new members in. Look at special locations. Maybe you can have a meeting at a place like a senior center or other different locations. You individually or you and your club can give talks to other organizations. Use that as an opportunity to promote your club. Our club, we meet at Emory, and when we have face-to-face meetings, we have our banners, and people who walk by, they always look up, wow, look at all these. What is this? What is this club? It's an easy way to attract interest in your club and to bring people into the door. Community events, advertising in church bulletins or coffee shop bulletin boards. Just continue to look at ways to promote your club is a way to find different opportunities to bring new prospective members into your door. So again, as a mentor, you have a responsibility to share these ideas and build this culture of membership building with your new clubs. Okay, in closing, look, there's a lot of information here and we're sharing a lot with you. Don't feel like you got to memorize all this. You'll have the recording, but you also have all of us. You have D14. You're going to have a variety of links and people who can help you as a mentor help these new clubs. So don't feel like you have to be Michael Jordan, right? You have a whole team around you that can help you really build up these new clubs and build these quality meetings with these new clubs and build a culture of membership building with these new clubs as well. So use these resources here. Read the newsletters, the social media sites, use your team to help you. Again, if you're interested in being a mentor, we're going to have the form here. I'm going to drop this here in the chat right now. I'm putting it into the chat. So if you're interested in being a mentor, fill out this form and we will get back to you. I'm going to take a breath now. And I appreciate your time. And with that, I am going to hand it over to my colleague, Alstina Smith-Sellers, who will take us to the next phase of today's discussion.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And we are about to enter the next phase of our training today, and that's going to be our panel discussion. And we're going to have joining our panel, we're going to have Andrew, Linda, and I'm going to call on Tamika also, just in case. Our panel discussion is going to consist of questions and also scenarios that we're going to pose. So my first question, Andrew, is, a club has several visitors at each meeting, but no one joins the club. What do you say about that, Linda?
Well, there's lots of reasons people don't actually join, but for the ones that are under your control, you want to make sure that you provide some sort of a personal touch, that you call them by name, that you call them afterwards, that if you can, you speak with them before they come to the meeting so that they can pick up on your excitement and interest in Toastmasters. I had someone call me before attending a meeting for the first time, just so they could understand more about Toastmasters before they attended the meeting. And when I explained everything about it, and it only took half an hour, they came to the meeting, they enjoyed the meeting, they decided to join the club. So make sure that you have that personal touch in talking with people who have come to a meeting or who might be coming to a meeting. Answer their questions. Let them know that it's a safe, supportive environment, that everyone comes with a little bit different reasons for why they're coming, but what they want is a safe, supportive environment with like-minded individuals, and assure them that that is what they are getting. Back to you.
Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. What's my next scenario, Andrew? Okay, a new member does not receive access to education materials. Wow. Consequences of that scenario, Tamika.
Definitely, consequences could be that they lose interest in being a Toastmaster. That definitely could be a consequence of that scenario. I've actually lived this very same scenario in our club where an individual joined, and when she joined, she entered her email address incorrectly. Well, as you know, that becomes your login. And so she had a hard time logging into Toastmasters International website to access her pathways. And it took several calls, several emails, a while to figure out that that was the problem. But by that time, she said, I don't know, it's been a while and I haven't really, dug into it. And she sort of lost interest. So that definitely could be a consequence of not gaining that access immediately. And also, I even heard from one club that they had an individual that thought they were a member, but never paid their dues. So they actually were not a member. And so they didn't have access to the educational material. So that's also something to be aware of as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Andrew, what's my next scenario? Wow. Club may be ineligible for distinguished club program recognition. And I'm going to throw that one right to you, Andrew.
All right. So, yeah, there might be several reasons why the club is ineligible. In many cases, as a former VPE, it could be the education goals. Maybe the VPE did not understand the steps to approve speeches and pathways, right? As a VPE, one of the first things you learn is you got to approve speeches in 2 locations, right? And recently, I was helping a VPE. He was missing that. You got to do it in pathways, and you got to do it in the TI side as well. That's a tricky kind of an unintuitive thing, but it's so important. If you don't do that, you're not gonna get those important educational goals. So as a club mentor, it's important that you understand how these things work, or people who do understand it, to help make sure that these clubs and the VPEs do things like make sure these speeches get recorded and recognized appropriately. So that's a key thing that I see over and over again, Alstania.
Thank you so much. And we all know how important those DCP goals are. So awesome. What's my next consequential scenario? Okay. You have a club that is solely managed by one person. This person plans the meetings, is often the only speaker, and often leads table topics. They are the backbone of the club. The member leaves the club for personal reasons. What's the consequences of that scenario? And I'm going to give that one to Linda.
One of the consequences of that is your club might likely fold because the main mover and shaker who was doing everything has left. On the other hand, your club might come back really strong because people will say, oh, I didn't realize this was happening. Toastmasters is important to me, and we all need to step up and take a role. You should never let your club get into that sort of a stage where one person is carrying the load, so to speak, with doing all the planning and the speaking and everything. Toastmasters is not a social club. You're going to club meetings so that you can learn how to be a more effective speaker, a more effective communicator, and a more effective leader. So some consequences of that sort of scenario is your club might die, but it also might come back really strong. And it could very well be possible that the individual left because they were doing too much and got burned out. You have to be careful with that too. I'll stay in.
Thank you so much, Linda. We also want to be careful that we follow Toastmasters guidelines where one person should not be able to hold that many offices, particularly pertinent offices like president, VPE. Those two people should not be the same individuals.
Yes.
Okay. Members may be ineligible to participate in club contests. Tamika.
Thank you for that.
Let's say
One of the reasons could be that they have not completed the required pathways completion. That's the first two levels of any path. That is one requirement. That does not apply to new clubs. There are some exceptions for new clubs to compete. And another reason could be that they are not a paid member. That will make you ineligible. And also, if your club is ineligible, then you're also ineligible to compete.
okay. Thank you. My next scenario. You have a membership drive that brings in 7 new members. You find that only 2 are regularly attending meetings. Wow, what's the consequences of that scenario? And I'm going to ask that of you, Andrew. What's the consequences of that scenario?
Well, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, right? You got to make sure that you're consistently looking at bringing new members in, which didn't look like that's an issue with this club, right? Bringing in 7 new members, that's excellent. That's great. But getting new members to join is one thing. The true sustainable part is to make sure they are active and participating. And that's a different set of skills and a different type of work, right? It's making sure of a variety of things. First of all, that they feel welcome. It's making sure that they understand how to participate in meetings. And so that might mean, okay, encouraging them to take roles, starting first with basic roles like an all counter, Marion, but then advancing to taking speeches and even doing an evaluation. So it's important that people feel like they have a mission and they have a true role in meetings. So as a mentor and as club officers, it's important that you're continuously coaching these new members on what they should do so they understand how Toastmasters works, and then they are also contributing, but meanwhile they're building their own skills and their own confidence. So that's one key way to help ensure that these new members really we want to turn these 7 new members into 7 active veteran members. And that takes some work and some education and mentoring in order to do that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. My next question, I'm going to pose this to someone in our audience. Where can you find a list of clubs that have recently been chartered? Do we have someone in our audience who'd like to take a stab at that one? If so, please come off mute and let us know.
I'll go ahead and answer that. I believe you go to the TI website.
Okay, who was that? I'm sorry, I couldn't see you.
It's Jill Lemons.
Oh, okay. Go to the TI website.
Mhm.
That's definitely one place you can find it. Anyone else?
Ask your district director. Ask your send a note to Marion. I'm sure she'll answer.
Absolutely. She'll be happy to hear from you. Absolutely. Anyone
Send a
else?
note, send a note to Versandra because chartering new clubs is under her area as club growth director.
Okay. Anyone else? Those are definitely three very valid sources. And both, I'm sure all three of them will work very well in identifying that information. What's my next scenario, Andrew? This is a question. Must the club mission statement be recited at each club meeting? Someone in our audience like to take that one?
Yes, the club mission statement must be, this is Lisa, must be recited at each meeting.
Okay.
Yes, the club mission statement should be recited at each meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else want to add to that?
Hello, this is Tanika. I'll add a little bit to that.
Okay.
What's awesome about Toastmasters is that each club has its own culture. And at some clubs, they don't read the mission at each meeting, but at other clubs, it is standard and absolutely appropriate. But that is solely up to the club and how they create their culture.
Okay. All right. What's my next question, Andrew? And I'm going to pose these questions actually to the audience because I want you all to get engaged. So, okay. Is there a pathway mentor certification program? Is there a pathway mentor certification program? Anyone in our audience want to take a stab at that one?
Yes, there is.
Okay, who was that?
Jill.
Jill?
Yes.
You want to tell us a little more about it?
It is under Pathways. There is a mentorship program. I believe it's a 6-month program that you go through the whole process.
Okay. Excellent. Is anyone else in our audience wants to add to that? Okay, my next question. How long must a mentor serve to receive credit from Toastmasters International? Anyone in our audience?
6 months, preferably a year.
Okay. Who was that? I'm sorry, I can't see anyone. So who was that?
That was the other half of the Lemons family.
Oh, okay. You're absolutely right. 6 months, but District 14 would love for you to serve a year. Which officer is responsible for the club mentor program? Which officer is responsible for the club mentor program?
VPE.
The VP of Education. Okay.
Let me add to that, Palestinian.
Yes.
So in our club, the VP is responsible, but we've actually designated a mentor chair to work with the club to help instill those relationships. So there's different ways that clubs can organize that. Going back to Tamika's point, depending on the culture, there's flexibility as to how clubs can set up and manage their mentor program. But at the end of the day, officially, it does fall under the responsibility of the VPE.
Great. And one more question, Andrew.
You got me working hard tonight.
I'm sorry. Okay. Is there more than one club mission statement? Is there more than one club mission statement?
I will take that one.
Okay. Before you answer, Linda, let's see if there's somebody in the audience that can answer it. Is anyone in the audience that can answer that one? Then it's all yours, Linda.
There is only one club mission statement. So all 14,700 plus clubs around the world right now have the same club mission statement, which was set by TI. There's also a district mission statement. So all 125-ish districts around the world have the same mission statement. The final mission statement is Toastmasters International's mission statement, of which, of course, there's just one. And if I had them all at my fingertips, I would be able to recite all of them from memory right now, but I cannot. So there are just three mission statements for Toastmasters, one for the organization, one for all the districts, and one for all the clubs.
Thank you very much. Well, I seem like I'm getting the green light now. I'm sorry, the red light now. So I want to thank my panel for your contribution to this portion of our training. I want to thank everyone in the audience for engaging in this portion of our training. And now I turn this over to Barbara Morgan, DTM.
Wow, thank you. Andrew, if you drop that PowerPoint, I can see everybody and we can. All right. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Great panel discussion. Thank you, participants. Much appreciated. Are there any other questions, comments from anyone in attendance tonight?
Well, yes.
Okay, Dennis.
I don't know if Toastmasters has changed the mentoring program, but I was a mentor to a 50-year-old club and a 60-year-old club. They were extremely high performing. They sent people to the national championship. They were Smedley Award winners. They were very, very competent. And the problem got to be that they had 20 members, but they weren't growing. So I was appointed as a mentor, and it wasn't hard to figure out what was going on. They would get numerous visitors every single week, but it got so wrapped around being a high performance club that they let that fun get in the way. But if you could put up with that, you would come out being a top-notch speaker, because they did things like you utter and an ah, you pay a fine. So I'm kind of tight and I like my money. But mentors, clubs ask for mentors, at least in the past, established clubs that had issues, and they could request a club mentor.
Thank you.
If I could make a comment here, I think, Dennis, what you're talking about now in today's terminology, at least, is a club coach. A club mentor is someone who helps a club get started from scratch, or a brand new club, whereas a club coach is someone who helps an existing club that has 12 or fewer members become better. And then a club sponsor is someone who helps a brand new club effort. And it may be that Toastmasters has changed some of the wording over the years, but now there are mentors, sponsors, and mentors, both of whom are associated with brand new clubs, and then club coaches for existing clubs.
And Linda, I think that's a great point. And also a great point for you, Dennis, in that we are speaking of new club coaches. And it can get confusing when you speak of a club coach and a new club coach. there is, even though they're similar, there's major differences in how they function in some areas. So thank you both for that input. Any other questions? Any other input? All input is good input because we learn. And what does John Maxwell say? If I never fail, I either learn or oh, I forgot. Can anybody remember that saying? I never fail. I either learn. Oh, well. Anyway, next meeting, I will remember. I will remember it. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for attending the meeting tonight. I really hope that you found some information, something was shared that was valuable to you. It was definitely to me. I mean, we rehearse these, we go over things, we talk about it, and I just learn something every time. And that's what's so exciting to me about life, learning. I do remember what Tony Robinson says when he talks about the six different areas of people's growth. And one is to learn and grow and change and expand. And that's what it's all about. And you know what? It should be fun. It shouldn't be a job. It should be fun. So thank you for attending. I want to remind you that our Club Growth team meets the third Wednesday of every month, and then a video will follow that will be on our YouTube channel. And then we meet the third Saturday of every month where we will hold a Q&A session. So you are invited to come again. There'll be new information. Also, please invite anyone that you know that may be interested in becoming a DTM or want to grow their leadership skills or just get involved in the district because it's really exciting. So at this time, I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and a great holiday. I thank my team, and we will close the meeting and prepare for our next training, which will be with the Club Retention Coach Training Team. Thank you.